You are listening to the Critical Mass Radio Show, Orange County's business talk show, focused on exploring topics of interest to CEOs who are leading middle market companies. With your host, Richard Franzi.
Hello and welcome to the longest running business talk show in Orange County. And I am your host, Rick Franzi. And we have a great show planned for you today. Why do you ask? Because Ken Potalivo is our guest. And I've known Ken, for quite a long time. We'll say 15 years plus. He's the founder of RelPip LLC. We're here to talk about that as well as his entrepreneurial journey. So Ken, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Rick. It's great to be here with you.
It's good to have you here, my friend. So as I said, I've known Ken for quite some time. Ken and I was first exposed to Ken as he was launching and growing an organization by the name of ProGrowth. And let's talk about the evolution of ProGrowth and then into RelPip. So just, Ken, take us back in time. Your passion around helping service providers grow their book of business. Let's talk a little bit about how you even started kind of building these organizations like ProGrowth and now RelPip.
You know what? That's a great question. And you know, it's like, it's hard to believe it's been 26 years when I started it. So I started it because myself and two other fellows started a group called P&G back in the late 80s. And it has evolved. And today it's called Provisors.
Sure.
And those two fellows handled the LA groups. And I agreed to start a group or two in Orange County. And I developed a great group. We had 30 or 40 professionals in there. Wonderful people. I could tell that a lot of them were extremely bright, probably a lot brighter than me. And they had been to some great schools. They had great technical skills. We were talking about lawyers, accountants, consultants, bankers, commercial real estate producers, commercial insurance producers. Anybody that was in a service business that had to do two things really well. That is, they had to do great work for clients, and they needed to be able to bring in business to their firms. What I discovered in the first 6 or 7 months of having these folks there was that a lot of these people really had no background or understanding of how to build a service business. It was almost like their managing partner said, get out there and bring in some business and network, right? And, you know, unfortunately, someone would come up to me and say, you know, Ken, I've been a member of this group for 6 or 7 months, and I haven't gotten the first referral. And you and I both know, Rick, it's not a group that gives you referrals, it's individuals. Mm-hmm. And I just really felt for these people. And I thought, you know, I think I can help these folks. I hadn't done a lot in business. I had a degree in psychology. I had an MBA. And, you know, I was the son of a military officer, lived all over the world. And change was always a part of my life. So I thought, I'm going to really look at this. And so for 6 months, I did a lot of research and put a methodology together that I thought would really make a difference for professionals. A methodology that would help them become, you know, the CEO of their business. Because whether or not they work for a firm or they're an independent service provider, they have to be able to bring in business over the long term. Because if they don't, then if the level of business falls within the firm, it's adios, right? And so I just felt like I wanted to help them gain control of their lives. So I opened my doors in January 1997. People thought I was nuts. I left the corporate world. And, you know, I identified 3 people in the group, and I said, I'll coach you for 3 months if you'll just share with people what this does for you. And I never looked back. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's what excited me was the impact that this process was having on them, because what I was seeing was that their confidence was starting to build. And, you know, when you have confidence, people can see that. Mm-hmm. You know, one of the first things I did was, because a lot of people are introverted and they don't feel like they can produce business. I would always give them a DISC profile. A DISC profile just helps you understand your social style and how to relate to other social styles. So anyway, that was the beginning of the whole process. And you know, I built a great practice. Over the years, I've worked with some amazing people, and you know, we've had a number of iterations since then. You know, I think you might remember we started ProGrowth teams, and we started putting teams across the country. I even had one in Rochester, New York, and had some great people up there. But what I found on that one is that unless I had a Johnny on the spot who could help these folks, it was going to be an issue. So I had them in Denver and Phoenix, and it was a great concept, but people have a tendency to go back to what they've always done.
Right.
So,
Right.
but you know, here's what I've learned. I've learned that you have to try different things. And my whole focus has been making a difference for service professionals.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, then I started the ProGrowth Premier program. That has gone exceedingly well. I even, believe it or not, I even developed a franchise program that got accepted by the state of California. And I was on the 1-inch line and decided not to do it because I was always concerned. What if I get somebody in there that buys a franchise that's not really into creating value for my clients? That would be a problem. So,
you and I first started talking was 2007, 2008. Those of us that have been in business then, remember that was the front end of what we now call the Great Recession. And to your point that you made earlier, what I saw in many service provider organizations, those people who were really good technical skills, but didn't have their own book of business, became the first to be expendable in those organizations.
Exactly. And I have to tell you something. That breaks my heart when I see that happen, because you got somebody that can really make a difference for a client, and all they need is a client.
Right.
And so really, when you talk about, you know, why I started RelPip, I don't know if you've seen our logo, but the RelPip logo is a frog. And, you know, we say, are you tired of kissing frogs? But you know, this past year we started RelPip, and my vision there is to create a community of professionals who all understand the importance of referral partnerships and who want to meet other people that are like-minded. Think about it, Rick. You know, a lot of people, the way they try to get business is go to these networking events, and they go and they go and they go. Now, I don't want to poo-poo networking, because a lot of people go there because they get caught up on what's going on in the business community. They get to see people they haven't seen in a while. But the idea that somebody's going to meet you there and say, hey, Rick, I got a great referral for you. I mean, if that happens, it's very unlikely. But anyway, the problem with going to these networking events is you don't know what market segment these professionals serve, and you could waste a lot of time. And so what we've done with RelPip is we're using technology. We've developed an app that's in iOS, and it's also in Android. And everybody that joins RelPip has a little profile that people can see, and it shows the 4 connectors that I call their discipline, their specialty, the type of clients they serve, and the size of clients. The issue is that if you and I want to develop a referral partnership, we got to go through a little process. It's almost like, you know, dating in many ways. It is. You know, you got to feel good about the person. You got to get to know them. And then the second issue is we got to make sure that we can help each other, that we've got things in common. And then lastly, that, you know, you're dealing with somebody that's got what we call the PIP. They're purposeful, intentional, and passionate about what they do. Hence the name RelPip. RelPip, REL is for relationships that have the PIP, that are purposeful, intentional, and passionate about what they do. So my hope is that as the word gets out and people share it with people, that people will feel comfortable to be able to sit in their office or their home, identify somebody, hit the connect button which immediately the other party, it's like if I did that with you right now, you and I would connect, and we would start to go through the process, and we'd help you with that process. The idea is to see whether or not you and I can become a referral partnership. And
in your experience, Ken, a high-end service provider who finds the right match with peers, how many connected service providers do they really need to kind of maintain and grow their practice? What's been your experience in that area, Ken?
That's a great question. And I've always believed that if someone can just develop 10 or 15 referral partnerships, it is a done deal. When you think about it, companies have distributors all over the place, right? They need distributors to be able to get their goods in the hands of their customers. We as service professionals are no different. We need people out there that can look out for us as we look out for them. And that becomes our distribution system. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes.
As opposed to networking, where it's a strategy of hope. Whereas if you have 10 or 15 referral partners that you can really count on, and that each of them have agreed that they'll help each other with one significant event over the course of a year, it's unbelievable what it does to your business. I mean, I have a fella down in Dallas that I work with, and this guy is so smart. He makes, well, I'll just put it this way: he's really smart.
Okay.
But when he came to me, he didn't have any relationships, and he does amazing work in the turnaround space. And that was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I have to tell you, man, he's got that 10 or 15 relationships, and it has done unbelievable things for his business. Now, let me say this. The process that I take people through, there's no hocus pocus to it. You got to want to do it. You've got to, if you follow the process and the structure, like even in the RelPip app, I mean, it will make sense for you. And I'll tell you, the reason I started RelPip, I saw what was going on, just like you did with the pandemic. People were hunkering down. I had people in my program that weren't able to get out and meet people or have continue the relationships with a number of people. And I said, something's got to change here. And then, the economy started going south. And so it's been a real challenge for people. And, I have to tell you, I saw an article this morning. One of the major law firms in the United States put out an edict to their associates that said that instead of billing 1,950 hours or 1,900 hours, you need to bill 2,000 hours now in order to get your full bonus. And guess what? This firm is 5 months into its fiscal year already, and that doesn't matter. You better have those 2,000. But that's the way it is. If you don't have any leverage, if you're just a worker bee, it's tough. And I want to help people become indispensable. I really do. And because if you're bringing in clients and revenue to the firm, you are not going anywhere.
And
right?
the ability to be introduced to a candidate or a prospect through someone that they value and trust is so much easier to acquire as a client than a cold outreach or any other way. Would you agree that warm introduction from a trusted advisor to a new trusted advisor really is social lubricant to help you convince a client that you can help them?
Absolutely. If I have a client and they trust me and they said, "Ken, I need somebody that can help me with this," and I say, I think that you ought to talk to Sue Thompson. She is absolutely the person that can help. Can you have her get in touch with me? There's no credibility issues because they trust me and what I have shared with them. And so you're right. That's the beauty of having another professional vouch for you.
Because so many service providers are somewhat introverted, and the idea of talking to someone who doesn't really understand how competent they are is intimidating many times, especially to like a CPA or to an attorney, people who
Exactly.
generally, and then to have a warm introduction, it allows them, what I've found, it allows them to enter the conversation sort of on a peer-to-peer level with the prospect, with the CEO, because they're coming in with a certain amount of credibility inherent in the referral that they've received.
That's well said. That's well said. In 2015, I wrote my book. It's called Secrets of Mindshare. Revenue producers get the referrals they want by making their competition irrelevant. And that's really what happens.
Right.
When you have 10 or 15 referral partnerships, like if you and I have one, I don't have to worry about you giving a referral to somebody else, and you don't have to worry about, we're gonna stay in touch with, we meet once a month, we're sharing ideas, and our common goal is to help each other with something significant over the course of a year. It doesn't get any better than that.
But is that your experience too? I mean, the key is you can't just expect to get, you have to be willing to give to be in a good relationship.
Well, yeah, you're right. And that's what a referral partnership is. A referral partnership says, Rick, over the course of this next year, how about you and I meeting once a month? When I come to that meeting, and like, let's say we're going to do it virtually for 10 or 15 minutes, I promise you, when I come to that meeting, I will have reviewed my calendar for anybody in any situation that might be helpful to you. And my feeling is if we could just help each other with one significant event over the course of a year, might make a real difference in both of our businesses.
Well, and if you have 10 to 12 partners, that's almost one a month. I mean, that most of the high-end service providers that you work with, their book of business, 10 new pieces of business is a pretty significant growth year for us, right? I mean, generally speaking, one a month is a very good new customer acquisition strategy.
No, it is. But here's the thing. You don't create a referral partnership in 30 days.
Right.
Right. I mean, a lot of my clients over the years, I always told them, if you can develop 10 or 15 referral partnerships over a 2 or 3 year period, you're doing great.
Right.
Because it's not like networking where, okay, man, let's help each other. Right? This is truly something where we can make a difference for each other. That's the key.
Yeah.
And I don't know where RelPip will go, but my vision is that there's so many there's 25 million professionals in the United States. If we just got 1% of those that could really help each other, what an amazing community that would be.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an amazing. And it's like when somebody comes in, our membership is free. We always tell people, go to relpip.com. That's our information website. They can see whether or not it makes sense for them, and then they can download the app if they want to. But it's free. Now, we also have premium levels of membership where they can have a local, which is within a 25-mile radius, a regional, which is in a 100-mile radius, and then a national, which is over the United States. But here's the good news. Just one referral for one referral partnership gives you a 20 or 30x return on that investment. It's unbelievable. But that's the goal. And here's one thing. I've never had a contract with any client ever. It's a handshake. And all I say is, give me 30 days notice and we're done. If when it's not creating value for you. And believe it or not, I still have a client or clients have been with me for over 20 years. So
wow. That's great.
It's just because like the one fella, he's a solo practitioner, and to be able to sit down with somebody, not like I have all the answers, I don't, but to be able to discuss issues and brainstorm, that means a lot to him. So,
you've had a lot of experience, and I'm wondering if, in all that you've heard, is there a piece of advice that you feel it has been particularly valuable for you, and you can share it with our audience today?
Yeah, Rick, I think the thing that's most important for anybody going into businesses is, first of all, never, ever take a client for granted. Mm. And that if you're not passionate about really making a difference for that client, you should get out of the business, whatever business it is. I mean, I had a lawyer one time, and this goes back many years, and I could tell that he had enough. And I said, the problem is people can see that. They'll never say anything to you. They'll always be nice to you, but they're going to shake your hand and they're going to say, there's something going on here. I think I'll go down the street. And we never get that feedback. Mm-hmm. So you have to be able to, you have to be passionate about what you do. I mean, the day I wake up and I can't really get excited about a meeting that I'm going to have with a client or making it different, that's when I say, okay, it's enough.
That's good advice. If someone would like to connect with you on LinkedIn, learn more about RelPip, how would you advise them? What should they do to connect with you, Ken?
Well, I think the best way is to go to RelPip, RelPip.com. And, we give a lot of information on the site so that, and I also have tutorials that we've created that they can take a look at that might be helpful to them. And then decide whether or not it makes sense for them to be in the community. Because, every service professional who understands the importance of referral partners is welcome, because that tells us that they're going to be committed to helping the person that they get connected with, and to go through the process and hopefully come out the other end, shake hands and say, we're on, let's go get it. Right?
That's right. Well, it's been great to see you and talk with you again. And I'm so excited you got another venture that you've started. It's always fun. And I wish
you can't allow moss to gather under you, right?
Never. No.
And I have to tell you, this one is exciting to me, and I'm hopeful that you never know. You just never know, and hopefully people will share it with people, and we'll see what happens.
Well, it's been good to talk to you, my friend. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I'd like to thank the audience. You've all been a part of Orange County's longest running business talk show. Ken's interview is interview number 1,420 in our catalog. If you're an Orange County entrepreneur and you have a story to tell, then reach out to me. I'm Rick, RICFRANZI. That's my profile on LinkedIn. It's also my website. Be happy to talk with you, possibly get you on the show as a future guest. Until the next time we all have a chance to be together, I hope all of your business decisions will move your company in a positive direction.